Hi YouTubers, this is another video for me here, Evelyn. Today we're going to be reading the last episode of season 2 of Anne Rice's interview with the vampire. Now let me tell you, we're getting season 3, rejoice! And we're getting Queen of the Damned. That's not gonna be a big secret. So the last episode, they beautifully tied up everything. A lot of things got explained, but then again, the reasons behind it wasn't quite. So we open up with episode 8 of Louis describing what happened to him while he was in the coffin filled with sand. We understand it was a period of time, and basically Louis went mad for a bit, and the understanding that Omar went and saved Louis, I think that bit is true, well, I'm going to reveal later, took him out from the coffin and gave him his blood because Louis verified that was Omar's blood. So he comes out for the coffin like crazed, out of his mind, plotting revenge. So he goes to the local crypt or cemetery in Paris, and he's there plotting with his craziness. And in the midst of the interview, Daniel he knows that Omar is lying, but he asks Raglan James to provide him with the information to confirm that. So in the midst of the interview, he's typing a secret on the message chat to Raglan James. So as the recounting progresses, we see Louis plotting his revenge against the theater of vampires. Amar gets in touch with Louis telepathically, trying to make him see reason. But the only thing we get to the point, Louis tells Amar, look, they'll be in the theater in this night. Like, the revenge bit to me was, I don't want to say really quick at what happened, but basically what Louis did, he planned out everything. He described that vampires, they're in there asleep. When they go to sleep in their coffin, they shut off everything, so they go for a really deep rest. And so that Louis took the chance to go and put the whole theater on fire, like load of vampires die out to the 13th, and 3 ended up surviving. The 2 girls in which Louis tied a little cloth to their motorcycles that had some gasoline on it, and he used his fire gift to ignite the motorbikes, and both of them ended up dying. And Santiago, the one that Louis really wants to get revenge, he plots for the last, and Louis is there goading Santiago, telling him about his real name being Francis, that he was a failed actor during his time, and then Santiago gets his head chopped off. And of course, Daniel goes and says, well, like, what happens after that? Because Daniel does say to Amar what was the repercussions, and Amar gives some BS story that he was humiliated, subjugated because he went and betrayed the coven. So afterwards, we get the scene where Louis tells Amar, I would never be able to forgive you for what you did. And then both of them end up recounting how they saw. Oh, the important bit that I'm missing here is Louis goes to Lestat. The understanding is they know that since Magnus, the maker of Lestat, is really powerful, it'll be hard to kill Lestat, sorry. So they go and see Lestat. He's in the crypt where his maker kept him with other guys that looked like him. Now the important point that tells us, oh my god, they're doing Queen of the Damned. Lestat goes and tells Louis, look, you can't kill me. And then they're both having these fire bombs coming out from their hands or whatever, there's like flames. And then Lestat goes and tells I think Amar, look, I got Cash's blood in me too. Well, to Louis, I think it was. And then Lestat tells Louis, oh, Omar doesn't know who Akasha is. So it's like, oh my god, Queen of the Damned, Queen of the Damned, Queen of the Damned, damned. Wow. Wow. The show writers, this is how you do an adaptation, when you change key aspects of characters to make it make sense, and they did that successfully. So basically, Louis says, okay, the only way I can get revenge against Lestat was to say, okay, Louis kissed Amar in front of Lestat to say, look, I've got somebody much more better than you, and Lestat said to something ominous, I wonder how long you'll be able to keep it for, which was directed to Armand. And that was the end of it. And then Daniel goes and says, I wonder what Lestat meant. How long would you be able to keep at it? And then Louis is like, what do you mean? Daniel goes and says, look, you said that Lestat also had the same powers as Armand to mind control people. So Daniel's jogging Louis' mind and telling him, like, remember when Lestat took all those mind control those army guys to go out from the house in season 1, and roughly how many people were there? And he said around 30. And then Daniel says the most obvious question, even I would think, looking back at it, there was 2 people that could have saved you that night. And then it's like the penny drops. The music that they put, it's like when you find out a shocking revelation, it's like you don't want to believe it. I've had experiences like that where I found out something and you just don't really want to believe it because your whole reality collapses and you have to make do with what you thought you knew was not the truth. And then Daniel pulls out the big guns because the real Rashid or Agent Rashid, his last act of service was to transmit the script of the trial of the play that the Talamasca had. We found out that their contact was Sam, the one that was guarding Ahmad in the previous episode in that booth. He had the script with Ahmad's annotations in red. And then Daniel goes and says, Ahmad didn't save you, it was Lestat. And when Louis realizes that shocking truth, his mind is like, he couldn't believe it. Now Jacob Anderson's acting like wow. By episode 8 we see a revitalized Louis with a clearer understanding about his life as a vampire. So he's reading through the pages and Ahmad knows that the jig is up. He's like so desperate, and then Daniel's moment of triumph and glory, he looks at Ahmad and like moves his glasses like basically checkmate, I got you. And then Louis goes to the room and then Ahmad is like trying to scramble, like, you know when you have that classic thing of you say your cheating lover but gets rumbled and they want to salvage the relationship and sprout more lies. So as Ahmad and Louis are arguing in the room, Daniel's there in the kind of like corridor thing and he gets a message from Raglan James. He tells Daniel, get out of there now, and he sends 2 messages, and then all of a sudden above Daniel, the thud, that gave me a jump scare. I was like, oh good. From that perspective, great acting from Eric, the actor, gives the perspective of the simple human being. So it's like, what the hell is going on? And then afterwards we hear Louis calling for Rashid, but Rashid has AWOL. He's gone. He's like, see ya, because of course with that shocking revelation, like Talamasca and the agents with it, they know that it will be a big fight afterwards. So Daniel goes to the scene and he sees that Louis, well, we didn't see it, but understanding that probably Louis punched him or threw Ahmad against the wall really hard, across that crash. And we see Ahmad bleeding from the eye. And then Daniel tells Louis, look, I think Rashid left when he gave me the newspaper. And then we see Louis looking at Ahmad and he tells Ahmad, if you touch Daniel at all or harm him, I will kill you. Now, with Ahmad's character, he's much more older than Louis. Now, that's the interview that we probably would want to hear, a redemption story. Different situation if Ahmad didn't save Louis after his suicide attempt. Maybe Louis would have not spared him. I think that's the only reason that Louis spared Ahmad, because for some strange reason he stayed with Louis. He could have just left or whatever, or he could have stopped Louis from killing the Coven. Maybe Ahmad was tired of being with the Coven and maybe needed an excuse. But Ahmad's reasoning for tricking Louis, I wonder if we'll ever find out in season 3. Maybe not. That could be season 4. Now, the end of this episode, I'll get to that. They hit it on the nail with the original ending from the book. From the original in some sort of weird way. I'll get to that in a bit. We get a real important scene. Louis looks to Daniel and he says, look, you better pack up your things. And the 10 million that I promised you, you'll get it. And Daniel's like, oh, what the hell is going on? But also Louis tells Amaris, I'm going now, and when I come back, I want you gone. So Louis is there thanking Daniel. He shakes out his hand to step forward and Daniel's like, oh my god. But then Daniel goes and shakes Louis' hand. And then we see the last bit. Now the last bit, oh my god, what a masterclass of acting for Sam, Reed and Jacob. Each time I see those scenes, I just could feel the pain and the agony. Like when you're in a relationship that you love strongly and fight strongly, you have so much regret and so much longing to be with that person. So Louis goes back to New Orleans. Now, why did Louis leave Ahmad with Daniel? Now that bit, I don't know what was Louis' reasoning, but hey. How would he trust Ahmad to not kill Daniel? Anyway, besides the point. Louis goes back to New Orleans. There's a hurricane going on. And and it's present time. He goes back to his old home. The area is still standing somewhat, and he goes and books himself into a hotel, and looks like that they know him. So when Louis is in New Orleans, he goes through one of these guided tours, and then he hears the tour guide kind of recounting what happened in season 1, where Louis, Lestat, and Claudie killed all the politicians and the people from New Orleans from that party thing. And he mentioned Sebastian Memoff. Now that name rings a bell. Memoff, not the devil. I'm going to see if I verify this. And then when Louis is there listening to them recounting a twisted thing of what really happened after many years, he sees a young boy in a corner, well, not young boy, like a street boy, whatever, catching a rat and putting it in his satchel or bag or whatever. And Louis puts it 2 and 2 together that it's Lestat. So he follows the boy to the old house. Apparently Lestat is in their old house that's decrepit. And then when Louis goes in, we see Lestat. Oh my god, the way that, even though with how many years has passed, we see Lestat basically the aftermath of what happened with Claudie. He's not in a good way. He has a makeshift keyboard made out of wood, basically a toy keyboard. And then the funny bit, he has a smartphone and he has the music playing. So there's an interaction with the boy, whatever. We see Lestat using the fire gift. The boy goes, and then Lestat goes and tells Louis, you're passing by. And Louis is like, no, I came to see you. We can see the hurt and the pain on Lestat's face. Lestat gets stunned by Louis when he says, I came here to apologize. And then Louis does admit, I did make things difficult for you, I'm sorry. That he should have seen the dark gift as a gift, not a curse. Lestat goes and says, look, if you're gonna come here to tell me all the things that we did to each other wrong, how we can never love each other, Lestat doesn't really want to hear that. But then Louis goes and says, no, I came here to thank you. And giving me not a purpose, but helping me to understand moving forward in this journey. And then Lestat, in that moment, that breaks him. And then Lestat talks about when New Orleans 1973, when Louis tried to take his life and he was in the coffin, and Ahmad did contact Lestat. Now, Ahmad, I think he's even more complex, his reasons, than Lestat. I really hope they do, on season 3 or 4, they do enlighten on Ahmad's reasoning, or maybe he just had a change of heart, or maybe he regretted the choices that he made. But okay, they may expand on that. And then Lestat says, in September 1973, I can't remember the day, Ahmad called me. It was this time in San Francisco, this time in New Orleans. I just want to know, were you there? And Sam Reed, he's acting the way the emotional turmoil, and of course knowing that you love somebody that you love deeply, that they were in a bad way. Lestat says in a almost crying voice, did you hurt yourself? And then Louis admits, yeah, he was in a bad way. And then in that moment, Lestat says, the same way you were thinking, basically I'm paraphrasing here, you've been thinking about Claudie, and me too, I just can't get her out of my head. Then Lestat recounts the last look that Claudie gave him as a daughter looking to her father, and then Lestat realizes that he says, I was no father. In that moment, Louis embraces Lestat in the middle of a hurricane, because there's a big hurricane going on in New Orleans. The bricks are falling in, the ceiling, and then they hug each other. And then of course behind the scenes, both actors says that the microphone was off, and they said some things to each other, maybe this last scene is gonna be gold, it's gonna give us season 3, oh my god, this is great. Because there's one thing about this series that's very unique that the other series don't do. They do behind the scenes. And when the actors give the interviews of how they filmed some of the scenes, each one of them, they look so good, they're happy doing this show, and you could feel that. You could feel that in the acting. I don't know how many of them read the original books, because I'm a similar age. They're probably like Jacob and Sam, they're about 5 years older than me. I don't know if they've read the books as teenagers, or maybe when they read it now, they could understand the magic behind Anne Rice's books. And then we get to the end scene. Oh my god, we get all of a sudden that emotional scene between Lestat and Louis, that reconciliation. I know in the Prince Lestat, the last books before Anne Rice departed this world, that Louis and Lestat do get married. I probably would. I'll go see if I try to read the new books that came out. Now, wouldn't that be awesome if we get something along the lines? And in some weird way, anyway, I'm jumping ahead. So we get from that emotional scene to present time, well, what happened afterwards. And Daniel is there on a news station. He's wearing some shades. At first, I thought he was cosplaying as a vampire. Because I was like, the nails, that's what I was like, is he trying to cosplay as a vampire? Is he taking this a bit too far? And he wrote the book, even though that Louis set Daniel's laptop on fire. Well, there's always a backup, his goddamn output, for God's sake, that probably Louis didn't count on. Or maybe he knew, but anyway, he's there promoting the book, Interview with the Vampire. And the news anchor is trying to basically tell Daniel, look, you went and tanked your career on something as stupid as the vampires. And then Daniel, classic Daniel, he basically said F you to the anchor. He didn't even read it. The 5 million people have bought my book. And then the main thing is Daniel's proclaiming that this is real, this is not non-fiction, because the news reporter says this is something fictional. So Daniel comes up from the station. It looks like he's calling Louis, and then he says, like, look, your checks keep on bouncing. But before that, we see Louis back in Dubai, and he's hearing all the vampires basically say that they're going to kill Louis for exposing their secrets. Now, with Queen of the Damned, from my understanding, when Lestat did his book, that was the genesis for the vampires coming after him, and during that time, him becoming a rock star and the music awakening Akasha. So I think maybe this book will be... They're making the same thing, but then they're using the book Interview with the Vampire as a vehicle for that. That's my feeling. And Louis was like, why don't you give it to your publishers or the Talamasca? Like, what? Okay, now they know. I don't know if they didn't know beforehand or they always knew. And then Daniel goes and takes off his glasses, and in the midst of that he says, oh, the Talamasca made me take out so many things. And we see Daniel's eyes, he's become a vampire by Ahmad. And then Daniel tells Louis, have you heard from my maker? And he's like, no. And then Daniel says, what a bastard. And then Louis says, oh, I'm sorry that he made you out of pettiness, whatever, spite. And well, that was like, they stood true to the books. Wow, I don't mind that. Eric, okay, they could have never changed his character per se, like, I mean the actor, because he's gold as Daniel. He's goddamn gold as Daniel. Now we can kind of see that connection that Daniel always will have now with Louis. And with Ahmad, now that would be interesting for season 3 if Ahmad does come back into the picture, maybe to help fight against the Akasha, God knows. And Daniel tells Louis, look, I'm worried about you, that I hear the other vamps talking about killing you, that you should come out of Dubai. And he also tells Louis, okay, I'm sorry for the book, but then again, I'll make it up to you when we write the next book. So I think Daniel for the next. I have a feeling that with the Interview with the Vampire, the longevity, they could go to 6 seasons, depending how well the actors look after themselves aesthetically, because there's a lot they can do with it. Well, maybe they'll end with season 6 with the vampire wedding of Louis and Lestat. Now, wouldn't that be something? And I don't know if they will explore the relationship between Daniel and Ahmad with the same-sex couple, because we do know that for a while Daniel and Ahmad there become lovers. I don't know if they explore that, but of course the younger Daniel was up for anything. That didn't really matter, and the older Daniel kind of really shied around that topic. And also at the end, we get Louis' triumph of his... At the end, he basically tells all the vampires, look, stop being bloody cowards. I live here, I have security guards, basically come for me. And we get the end scene, like, wow. I'm so curious, I want to know what the hell happened with Lestat afterwards, because Lestat did mention something about going on tour. Like Margaret, she sounded very familiar. One thing I remembered, that Lestat's mother mother is a vampire, because I do remember that briefly, that Lestat came back after being transformed as a vampire. His mother was dying, I think from the plague or something, and he transformed his mother, Gabrielle. Now, oh my god, that's gonna be so interesting. We get the understanding that both of them are not together, but come on, we need to see, you know, we want to see a relationship between the both of them. Of course, Lestat will never leave Louis to fight against the vampires alone, and now I think Lestat could be as well hearing out for some other things. Like, oh, what a beautiful season. They've hit it right out of the park. All the tunes, the soundtrack, the music, the build-up, the reunion, and Daniel being made into a vampire. They completed everything. And poor Claudia, rest in peace, Claudia. God damn it. Anyway, this is the last episode of season 2. Leave your comments down below if you were shocked with them making Daniel into a vampire at this age. And will season 3 introduce David Talbot, Jesse, the ancestor of Margaret, like the two red-headed vampires that fought against the Kasha in the time of, you know, the Egyptians. Oh my god, season 3, wow, can't wait. So as I leave you always, stay safe. I leave your comments down below, and to any new viewers, if we get into the subscribe button, that'd be appreciated. And to all the current ones and new subscribers, a big thank you. And until season 3, I'll see you next time.